Well, hello everyone at home. I'm John Krasinski, and here's some good news. Remember when that was the rage? When we still all had souls? So, it's interesting that we're now here. I was thinking about my content this month, and I was thinking, what exactly does May talk about? So, back in the day, I too indulged in the constant need to fulfill some sort of desire that I had with possessions. But over time, I feel like possessions have just kind of fleeted from me. Which is weird because I feel like a lot of people expect me to make videos about media. And oh boy, what a different time it was to be making videos about DVDs and Blu-rays that you purchased, you know, just in the world. And now you just sort of stream everything. So now I'm going to address the fact that I'm sitting completely encompassed by Blu-rays and DVDs. I'm gonna go through my movie collection for you and show you the things that I have kept over the years. I think we should just jump right into the weird shit that I own, because I think we all really want a good glimpse of the kind of shit that May owns. So I'm just gonna start here. I have these, which I purchased a long time ago, and if you're a fan of like John Waters or anything like that, these are kind of holy grail items. But Criterion Collection is now putting out a lot of their stuff. So, and I do have Criterion Blu-rays, which I'm going to talk about probably next. Who knows? There's no plan here. These used to be really important to me and a lot of people, and I guess they are still fairly important to me. I still watch these a lot. I still love John Waters movies, even though I feel like John Waters has probably aged badly.
Kill, kill, kill. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Questions and answers.
Do you believe in God?
I am God.
It's queer history, right? Okay, so this is called Love Exposure, and if you've ever heard of Love Exposure, it's a director named Sion Sono who made a 4-hour-long epic about sex and religion, and it's like every single genre. It's hell on the eyes, and it's so much movie, like there's just so much goddamn movie in here, I can't throw it away. So this movie clearly gets the award for being the greatest movie that ever movied, as it does all movies at the same time for 4 fucking hours. I dropped it.
このマリア様みたいなお嫁さんを見つけるのよ。そうしたら私に紹介して。
Have you ever heard of melt movies? If you have, I'm super sorry. The Incredible Melting Man. I mean, this is sort of a prototypical melt, but when I think of melt things, oftentimes I'm thinking of like The Fly, that David Cronenberg movie with Jeff Goldblum, where the fly like vomits up a little bit of bile and it like melts some guy's whole hand off. That's what I think of when I think of melt movies. Just like, there used to be a body, and now there's a puddle, and you get to watch the slow descent from body to puddle. Roar is a crime. Basically, they done made a movie with a bunch of lions, and the lions were super unhandled and untrained, and the lions do exactly what lions are wont to do, and they bite a bunch of people. So if you like movies where literal, actual human beings get mauled by fucking lions, look no further.
Get off of her! Open her! Oh.
I'm going to now put these all together because I don't really want to talk about them individually, but I have the entire, well, most of the Alejandro Jodorowsky films, El Topo and the Holy Mountain, Dance with Reality, and Santa Sangre. I love these movies. He has a couple of other movies. He has Fondo Elise, which I've never seen for some reason. It used to be fairly expensive. It might not be expensive anymore. And then his other one is Endless Poetry, which is like his newer one, but I never saw that for some reason. Perhaps it's time. It's not like I've got anything better to do. It's not like I've got anything better to do. This probably should go in the unacceptable pile, but it's an unrated Blu-ray of Martyrs, which is actually fairly hard to come by. You used to be able to get this sort of stuff on Amazon Region B is how I would get a lot of the movies that I used to review and watch for the channel, especially foreign stuff. Like, I would just get unrated Region B, Blu-rays and DVDs, and I just had a region-free player, and I would just watch everything on region-free. I still do this sometimes, but this has become increasingly difficult. A lot of Blu-rays that they have in the United States are heavily edited for stuff like this. I don't know. Maybe there's a US release of this, but I'm pretty sure I got this one from Canada. It's a very bad time. It's almost something I would consider on the unacceptable side if it wasn't just a really good movie. Hot take. It's a good movie.
Merde.
Parle mieux, Marie Belfond.
C'est dimanche quand même.
Et alors? Tu reposes quoi le dimanche? Hein? Ta semaine à l'usine?
Beyond the Black Rainbow. I made a video about this a long time ago, and so here comes the novelty, right? Y'all get to see me kind of also reanalyze a lot of the things from my past. I still love this movie. This movie still fucks, and I would still definitely shake hands with everybody involved. And guess what the fuck else? I am in a movie with one of the fucking folks in this movie. I don't know much more than that. There's a movie that I am in called We Are All Going to the World's Fair, and also a fellow from this film is in it. Check it out!
For what you are.
I have not watched The Church yet, but I did recently purchase this thinking that this was going to be absolutely horrible or amazing. So this brings me to a fun topic about me. Everybody likes to learn a little bit about me. I seem to be like such a scary person on the internet, perhaps. People think that I'm a spooky ooky person. IRL, I'm very boring. I'm very namaste, you know, and I do have weird taste. This is something that I'm really into. This and just about any nunsploitation thing or pseudo-religious horror movie. I have piles of them, and we're going to now get to those. Yeah, The Church is like some kinda pseudo-nunsploitation. Now I got other nunsploitation. I got The Devil's Reign, which is some good shit. William Shatner's in this. We got Dark Waters, which is creepy and atmospheric and spooky ooky ding dang dookie. And The Other Hell, which I haven't watched yet, but it looks like a bunch of screaming nuns, and who can hate that?
Please don't. That's all I did. It was his fault.
There are other nunsploitation movies, kind of sort of scattered. I have a little bit of a problem. I'm sorry. And just sort of while we're here, I do also have The Devil's Reign on VHS tape. We have multiple viewing options in this house. I feel like a lot of people have stuff like this, but it is kind of neat, I guess. It's neat enough to bring up. I do have a signed Blu-ray of The Room. It's the Oh, hi Mark. Perfect Blue is really good, and it's finally on Blu-ray. You gotta go get it. You gotta go get it. You gotta go get it and watch it. I'm not the kind of person that's like, personal property. Like, go out there and buy yourself a Blu-ray, child. But this is pretty good. This is pretty good. It looks pretty good. It sounds pretty. It's pretty good. If you like Black Swan, you won't like it for much longer. The Love Witch is a movie that I probably should make a video about just independently because I actually have a lot of thoughts about this movie. This movie is also really important to me. However, I did do a podcast about it once. I believe it was the Bloody Blunt podcast. I did an episode on The Love Witch. So if you're ever wondering what my thoughts are in an extended way, you can go check that out. Perhaps I'll link it in the description below. A wink.
But what about what we want? How are we going to be equals with men if we keep catering to all of their needs?
I think that if you want love, you have to give love.
So once again with the whole, you know, we're reevaluating a lot of the things from May's past. I have Hereditary here, and I guess the reason I actually wheeled Hereditary out from the grave, even though I feel like, once again, standard ass Blu-ray, a lot of people own it. It's also on Prime now, so It's not like it's a challenge to see this film, and it's not that great of a point of pride to own it. I rewatched Midsommar the other day, and I have a lot more thoughts. And also this, and I think both of those films kind of touched on a lot of things that maybe we hadn't been thinking about at the time of the pandemic, and now that we've had it, I feel like maybe we're going to have different thoughts about it. Mostly the reason I bring this up is I actually feel like I want to reevaluate these, mayhaps, in a video way.
Just fucking say it! Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Do you understand?
Phantom of the Paradise is still on Blu-ray. It's still my favorite, and I still can't let it go. You know, there's just some things you just can't let go. Sometimes I forget the word of. Kathy's Curse was also once in a video I made a long time ago. Please don't go back and watch these videos, by the way. I'm not suggesting this. This is supposed to replace those, so you never have to see them again. This movie's great. I love this fucking movie. Evil little girl movie, kind of like The Exorcist, but like bad. But I know it's bad. Like everybody knows this is probably not going to be great, but oh Lord, is it incredible.
Where's your mother and your brother?
Mommy's gone. She's taken George with her.
Your mother's a bitch. She'll pay for what she did to you.
It was kind of a lost movie in a way. It was in the public domain and no one was talking about it. But now there's a 2K Blu-ray and everyone loves it as a bad movie. Classic. It's a classic. So go watch it, because it's a classic. I just did a video about The Greasy Strangler. This is my Blu-ray that I got from Canada because, again, no US Blu-ray from what I remember, which is probably good. The Americans don't need this.
What are these chips made from?
Potato.
Excuse me, what?
Serial Mom sort of lumps in there with the other John Waters stuff that I showed you. It means a lot to me to have, but of course I had to upgrade to the Blu-ray because I was like, oh, but what if I saw it but better? It's only been about, what, 20 minutes of this and I've already fucking completely lost my mind.
Hello?
Is this the cocksucker residence?
God damn you, stop calling here!
Ginger snaps. Okay, I was kind of lumping this in with a couple of other things that I have. Like, I have a couple of Scream Factory Blu-ray releases, which I feel like this was all the rage a few years ago, but no one really cares about these as much now. They were basically kind of releasing fairly decent cuts of old horror movies with restorations, and so I have Ginger Snaps, which is fabulous. It's a great movie about getting that period. Careful with that period.
Do you think it's cramps?
Give it a rest for 2 seconds. Oh.
Pam, we're eating.
Henry, the girls are both 3 years late menstruating, okay? It's not normal. If it's finally happening.
Texas Chainsaw 2, which is ironically also a film about getting your period. So the Criterion Collection is, I don't know, I feel like $40 for a Blu-ray in 2021, what year is it? Is a little insane. You want me to pay $40 for a Blu-ray? That said, my dumbass did buy some of these, so now I'm gonna tell you about them. We have In the Mood for Love, which is actually a pseudo-sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time, Chungking Express, but the people over at Criterion, you got my $40 there. It's sitting in my bank account for Chungking Express, but you give me this instead. I'm fine with this. I'll take it, but I'm waiting, bitch. In the realm of the senses, I think is banned in Japan. Horny movie. Big horny. Big old horny warning. Horny warning, horny warning, horny warning. This one's a little bit horny, fellows. To be honest with you, the majority of the shit that I own in here is a little bit on the horny side. Listen, I'm asexual. I've not talked about that before. 'Tis true. So I don't really experience much of the horniness from this, but I do find human sexuality very fascinating and interesting. So I study it like a weird scientist looking at lab rats. And I'm amongst you. Sallow, or 120 Days of Sodom. Look, Gaspar Noé, the director of Enter the Void, told me to buy this, so I had to. This is actually one of my favorite movies. delete me. Okay, I will have the debates because there's unethical stuff in it, and you're not gonna find a whole lot of movies that really directly address fascism and its actual real-world authoritarian consequences quite like this movie. So Piero Paolo Pasolini super died, probably for this. There's not much to say about that other than that.
Circostanze adagiati sul pavimento e seguendo l'esempio degli animali cambieranno posizioni, si mescoleranno, si intrecceranno, si accoppieranno incestuosamente, adulterinamente, sodomiticamente.
Repo Man is a classic movie about doing cocaine and doing your job. Also aliens, punk music, also Emilio Estevez. Yeah, it's interesting. Lots of Reagan stuff.
I don't want to know how. I don't want to learn, see? The more you drive, the less intelligent you are.
Female Trouble. As I said, big John Waters stan over here, even though I'm not standing the man or anything. But Female Trouble is, yeah, another one of those that's like essential viewing. Multiple Maniacs is also in Criterion Collection, which I did own for a while, but then I got tired of owning because I was like, I think someone else deserves this. Someone else should have this. And admittedly, I do kind of feel that way about this too. I feel like someone else should have it. I deserve my dirty DVD of it. This Blu-ray is too good for me. This should be trashier, but it was $40. And honestly, I think if Divine were around now, he would probably love the fact that he was getting $40 fucking per head for a Blu-ray of him. Or at least I'd like to think he would.
What are these?
Those are your new shoes, Dawn.
Those aren't the right kind. I told you cha-cha heel black ones. Nice girls don't wear cha-cha heels. Give me those.
I certainly do. And I bought it. Night of the Hunter. You know, I feel like it's gonna be sort of a trend that anything Criterion related, I'm gonna just pick up and be like, this is the best thing you're ever gonna have. This is probably the best thing you're ever gonna have. Sex, drugs, religion, get the fuck out of the way. It's time for Night of the Hunter. No movie has ever touched my childhood bone quite as much, and I don't know what that is, the childhood bone. I don't like that. So this movie is about Robert Mitchum being a creepy murder priest who tries to kill children.
Ben never told you he threw it in the river, did he?
I can hear you whispering, children, so I know you're down there. I can feel myself getting awful mad.
And the children try to run away, and the ensuing drama is expressionist hell in such a way they just never did that again. Like, artistically, it just feels like it's completely its own and lives outside of time. And wouldn't we all like to live outside of time? Now I'm gonna show you Valerie and her Week of Wonders. As you'll begin to notice, a lot of these movies are both horny and about ladies. This one is about ladies.
Duha boží, misionář. Přišel jsem mezi vás, panny, abych vám poskytl poučení.
I've actually never seen this. Everybody's been telling me for about a goddamn billion years, you gotta sit your butt down, sister, and watch this movie because this movie gets you. And I'm like, it does? We'll see. We'll see. Sweet movie. It's not. So this brings me to my next segment, which is that I have a crush on David Lynch. I know he's old. Doesn't bother me.
It'd be so beautiful. Crawl over there and crawl around and cry like a baby. See, real loud. Can you do it? Can you do it? Crawl and cry like a baby.
Why, you ask? Well, because of these films here, which are my favorite things that exist. Thanks, Davey. There are other Criterion editions of David Lynch's films, which I just harped on not spending $40 on a Blu-ray, but this came out, and I was like, holy shit. Said the same thing about this. And as you'll see, there are very few directors that I will pay just about any money for their work, but David Lynch is definitely one of them. Here, let me show you the evidence. We have Blue Velvet. I should have the Criterion edition, but I am a scumbag. The Straight Story is his awkward one about it's just a guy on he's fucking riding a lawnmower. That's the fucking whole movie. Inland Empire. This is a region B. I found this in a dollar bin somewhere once. This is 3 hours of absolute hell. I highly, highly recommend it. I will tell you nothing more. Lost Highway. It's 2 hours, more than that, 2 hours and 25 minutes of absolute insanity. Actually, this one is probably David Lynch's like most dated movie. Feels very 90s to me. It doesn't quite get to the level of universality that I feel like his other movies do. Although, it is horrifying and I think the performances are pretty fantastic. David Lynch is great about doing that sort of stuff. I just feel like when I go to reach for a David Lynch movie, I'm gonna grab one of his like more abstract, weirder movies. But instead, you know, I don't know. I don't really reach for Lost Highway a lot.
Ask me.
How'd you get inside my house?
You invited me. It is not my custom to go where I'm not wanted.
You know what I do reach for a lot, though, is Wild at Heart, which is absolutely one of the greatest movies ever made. I love this movie to death, and no one will watch it with me. This movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival. You'd think that this was like his weird, shitty Oscar bait movies or something, which, wow, as it comes out of my mouth, I want to vomit. No, it's actually rather good. The cast is fabulous. Nicolas Cage. Wow, oh my god. Back then, though. And Laura Dern is a fucking queen, and everyone knows this in the whole world. The Elephant Man is another one I don't really reach for a lot, even though I think it's good. I think it's very standard. Like, I relate to this movie a lot. I mean, as you know, someone who used to be kind of ugly.
I am not an animal! I am a human being!
It's been a long time, so I don't relate to it anymore. Sorry, David. I, of course, had to buy every bit of Twin Peaks bullshit I could get my hands on, except for Fire Walk with Me on Blu-ray from Criterion, because, once again, they're $40, and it is on this, as well as the missing pieces, which are pretty neat. And if you haven't seen Twin Peaks The Return, it's probably the best cinema that happened in the last, I don't know, forever? Long-ass time? Good shit! Listen, I don't have everything that David Lynch ever did. I have the key ingredients, in my opinion. DVDs. Do you remember DVDs? They used to be all the rage, just like Blu-rays used to be all the rage. RIP! Freddy Got Fingered. I don't think there's a Blu-ray for this, which is why I have a dirty, dirty DVD. And when you look at this DVD, it does look like there's like fucking cheese and weed on this.
Oh, look, honey, our boy's a genius. He's rigged a pulley system so he can eat sausage and work on his stupid drawings.
Dancer in the Dark is a movie cased with tears. It is a sad film, filled with sad, sad things. Poor Bjork. I love her so much. She's like one of my favorite musicians, and I love to watch her suffer, which is why I love this movie. Cemetery Man is a movie starring Rupert Everett. I've never seen this, but this is a horny zombie movie, which means it's a necrophilia movie, which means it's in my wheelhouse. If I could take something back after saying it, it would probably be that. Gymkata is a classic film about a gymnast who does fighting? I almost said he does like some specific kind of martial arts, but then I realized no, he doesn't. He does gymnastics. So it's a gymnastics film. Lady Terminator is classic. I saw this in a theater once with a packed crowd, and the entire theater was gasping in absolute hilarity over the woman just constantly shooting people in the balls as much as possible. Sort of a dick shooting adventure, this. Peter Jackson used to make good movies. This is one of them. Is that still like a thing where people are like, I love the Lord of the Rings? It was forever ago, and also the Hobbit movies. How do you feel the love anymore? Dead Alive, on the other hand, never hurts you, and it's a great film. And there's a priest who kicks ass for the Lord.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Future War, I've talked about in the past. Dinosaurs from traveling time with cyborg people in a box factory. It's classic bad movie bullshit. May. So, people have been asking me since day one if this film is my namesake. It's not. It's not. It's alright. We can hug. This is a great movie, though. I do really, really like it. If you keep your eyes peeled, my fellow friends, you will be seeing it. A version of me doing a video talking about this movie in the future.
It just didn't feel right.
So many pretty parts, no pretty holes.
So May decided to make a friend of her own.
I need more parts.
Star Wars Holiday Special. I got it at a convention. It's dirty. It's dirty and nasty, and no one likes it. Alucarda is some nunsploitation lesbian shit. I've talked about this like 2 or 3 other times, and no one ever knows what I'm talking about. I'll say it, and people will be like, I have no idea what May has said. What has she said? So I'm going to make it very clear now. The movie is this movie here. I'm gonna zoom in on it with a little crop. There it is. There's the crop. Okay, you can see it. It's called Alucarda, and it is a horny nun lesbian movie, and you should watch it. Okay? All right.
Just please! Just please! Stop it! Stop it!
Todd Browning's Freaks. Todd Browning, if you know, directed Dracula. That's a pretty significant film for him to have made. But he also made this, which was kind of a risk. It's about, you know, circus freaks. Now understand, obviously this is not the proper nomenclature, but that's sort of the bit, I think, with this, is like trying to put you in the position of trying to empathetically understand the people that we would call freaks, and then delves into sort of the objective morality of fucking with the community and then getting fucked with in return. Sort of an ebb and flow of that.
Look them laugh. They're swine. I love her. They can't hurt me, but they hurt me.
They're going to make you one of them.
Anyway, the movie was gutted because there was a scene of a bunch of people castrating a dude, and that had to go. And so they burned the film, and now all that's left of it is like 60 minutes, which is what's on the DVD. 30 minutes have been burned and have never been recovered. Freaks! The Garbage Pail Kids movie is a classic for all around. It's a good Christmas movie. It's good to bring around your children if you want them to have wonderful, perfect dreams and never think about the world in a weird, abstract, and kind of confrontational way. If you've ever done drugs, then you've basically done this. So you don't need this one. Tatsuo the Iron Man is kind of inching towards unacceptable territory. I often tell the story that I watched this on a plane and it made everybody really uncomfortable, so I had to stop. The sound design in this movie makes me very ill still. And that's that way with a lot of like cyberpunk movies from this era. Like, they're pretty fucking intense in that very specific way. And also body horror stuff, just, you know, sometimes it's alright. I am known for watching hideous violence. That is my once in life. I think when people remember me, they're going to remember me as that bitch who watched that crazy shit. Honestly, if that's my legacy, this isn't that shocking. Now this is, Visitor Q is a really horny family movie, which you know means incest, which you know means gross shit, including, but not limited to, necrophilia. It's fine, we've all been there. Mystics in Bali is a classic film about,
Now I need the new blood to make me younger and even stronger.
I can't remember the cryptid's name, the Panglen, I think, or something. I can't remember. This is fabulous. It's great to turn on at a party. It's a very specific part of culture, and it's a very specific, like, cryptid thing. Any American person that you watch this around is immediately just going to, it's gonna trigger their weird, I don't understand this, what is this culture? Which is really funny to watch. If you like to have parties with your American friends where you watch them get confused, turn this on and understand while they don't. Texas Chainsaw, The Next Generation. So the reason I own this DVD, now there are many DVDs and many Blu-rays of this film. Matter of fact, Scream Factory released a Blu-ray of this film, and I'm pretty sure that that's a great addition to my collection that I should have. But hear me out here. This particular DVD is insane because it has 2 front covers. And then when you get into the movie itself, there's no special features or really, there's a DVD menu, there's a play movie option, and then there's bios. And on the bios, there's like a bio of Matthew McConaughey, where the whole thing in the bio is about all the times he's been arrested for drug possession. So this DVD is very rewarding. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation is a terrible fucking movie that only the highest connoisseurs of garbage in this world will be able to appreciate. If you can appreciate it, the DVD menu for this, where you get to read about Matthew McConaughey's long series of drug possession charges, is fabulous. And also, he should just be the fucking governor.
Get that bitch!
Kenneth Anger made a bunch of short films that are really, really satanic and cool and gay. I bought this DVD collection because I wanted to know about all of them, and I learned about all of them. For some reason, I never did talk about this, and I guess that's because, well, they're real satanic and gay, and also filled with nudity and a lot of weird takes. Like, there are some questionable takes in this material. You're not gonna see the purest of ideology here. Quite a lot of media, it's like, you have to understand what about it is significant. You kind of have to spit out the seeds, is what I mean. It's openly gay, openly anti-modernist, meta-modernist interpretation of reality at a time like in the 60s, you know, when everybody was making their like Bonnie and Clydes, which were fairly direct movies about the human experience. Kenneth Anger was making much grittier, much crazier shit, and he was doing it on the dirt sheet. Pretty amazing shit. You should check it out. Mondo Kane 2, and Women of the World are a series of boring documentaries that are trying to shock me, but just don't. Possession is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's like a meme now that it's one of the greatest movies ever, but when I first saw it, it wasn't, that makes me a hipster about something. I can be a hipster about something. Isn't that awesome? Yes! That movie where Isabel Johnny does that crazy thing in the subway. It's a good-ass movie. At the end, she fucks a monster. I own all of the Dolomite Blu-rays because I stan. Okay, I don't know, Rudy Ray Moore probably wasn't the best dude in his life. I don't know. I don't know his deal. But I do know that he made 4 of the most amazing movies. These movies don't give a fuck. They do whatever they want to do, and they really have no care in the world for what you have to say about them. Fabulous. And also the first movie has a boom mic edition, which is like if you really want to, you know, see the shoddiness of the production, you can just watch the boom mic edition where people are just laying around with boom mics in the shot from 90% of the shots. It's pretty good shit.
On the screen, we're kicked in the ass and hit upside of the head. As a people, we were tired of that. So the minute we start making pictures where we were sort of on top, they want to make it blaxploitation, which I think is extremely crude.
I gotta give some props to the Everything is Terrible people. Their YouTube channel, and they've made these very strange psychedelic films, basically out of found material. So they'll go buy a bunch of old VHS tapes of like infomercials, and then they'll make, you know, the Holy Mountain out of it, or they'll make like a crazy movie out of it. So this is literally a remake of the Holy Mountain just with dog videos. And I know you're thinking, I bet that is coherent, and you're wrong, it isn't. Elves is a bootleg movie I own. So I do have a couple of bootlegs here, which I will admit, come get me. Extra and Elves are movies that came out a really, really long time ago, and I don't think anybody gives a shit about them actually making any money anymore. Classic shit. I think these are in Red Letter Media videos from like a long time ago, so if you want to see more, you should watch those.
Elves.
They're good party movies, especially around the holidays. And now, my friends, it brings me great pleasure to bring us to the dirty stack. The dirty stack. A dirty stack sounds like kind of a condition that one would get sort of in their butt. So I'm gonna try to make this as coherent as possible. So here are my Jorg Buttgereit movies. I have 3 of them. I have Necromantic, Necromantic 2, and Schramm. These are dirty movies. Don't let your parents know that you clicked on this link on DisneyChannel.com. They're real fucking dirty. They're real dirty. They're super dirty. These are dirty movies. They are about having sex with the dead.
Are you surprised at the ongoing interest in your movies?
Yes.
Caligula. I feel like this one's kind of pastiche because who cares anymore, but Caligula is a movie starring Malcolm McDowell that's 50% a porno. It is like 4 hours long, and basically somebody bought a movie that was already made and then decided to make it longer and a porno. And so then it became a porno. It's not a very good porno. I didn't come. Malcolm McDowell's pretty good in it though. There's a moment in the film where he puts a flower in a guy's butthole, and for that, I thank him. Ken Park is a movie, I think this one might be one of the less okay things I own. I don't exactly know what is the big shocking thing in this, and no, I'm not just feigning ignorance. I genuinely don't know what the big thing in this is, but one day I'm going to watch it. But I purchased this thinking I'm never ever ever going in my life to see another DVD or Blu-ray of Ken Park just lying around somewhere, so I had to have it. And I'm sorry, I think there's real sex in this.
You know what, Gramps? You're a bullshit artist. I got the most points, and I win the game. Let's see. 94 for Grandma.
Look, I'm not a proud woman.
Newborn! Born! Newborn!
This is a Serbian film, which, if you know anything about me, you know I've seen. I haven't really talked about it in a long time because it hasn't aged well on me. And also, I have become an adult. So now when I watch this, I think this is kind of pathetic. And I still feel this way now. And I don't like to have that opinion because this movie has a lot of fans. And the fans like really believe in it. But a Serbian film it crosses a lot of lines. Not one that you should show your friends or let your friends know that you own. I can't say I've ever made that mistake. But that's because people just don't come around here. You will never see something worse than this. Perhaps, unless you dig deeper. But if you are looking for a casual movie that you'll never see something worse than, this is pretty much that.
Newborn!
This is probably one of the rarest things that I own. This is a DVD of Cool Cat Saves the Kids from like day one. I shit you not. Like a bunch of people found out about this on Reddit at the same time. It was a long time ago. It was around the same time when people started finding out about Neil Breen, which I'll talk about Neil Breen in a minute. This came to me immediately when it went on sale. I pretty much immediately purchased this. And thank goodness I did, because I don't believe this version exists anymore, and I think now everybody thinks this is a dead meme. I certainly haven't watched it in years and years, and I don't know if I ever thought it was all that funny.
Eric. And where is Cool Cat? There he is. Hi, everybody. I want to have fun today. I don't know what to do.
It is a crazy thing that I have. So I do have the original, like, OG version of Cool Cat Saves the Kids, and I don't want it. So if you want to buy it, you give me a call. My number is, this is probably one of the things that's less justifiable to own. I have Africa Blood and Guts, or Africa Adio, Goodbye Uncle Tom, and then there's a documentary about the people that made these two movies, which I think is them trying to soften the act of putting these two fucking monstrous things on DVD. Goodbye Uncle Tom is a movie that shouldn't be with us in the same way that many human abominations shouldn't be with us, but we can't kill them, so we might as well study them. You know, it's like getting a serial killer in jail. Time to study this person's mind. Goodbye Uncle Tom, we can't stop it from existing, and I hate that it exists. I think we should be analyzing the very blatant and shocking racism that exists in both of these films.
Is it so dangerous that every foot of it should be withheld from the public, as one critic suggested? Or is it, as nationally syndicated columnist Bob Considine said, something the entire United Nations should be required to see?
I think we should be analyzing and talking about that, because they are both very unacceptable, but they also point out a lot of the ways we actually think about race, and that's pretty scary. Not because they intend to do this and do it well, but actually because they do it badly and they accidentally stumble onto some really good points. This is my favorite movie of all time, I think. It's called The Devils. The only way that I could purchase it is by purchasing this copy from Korea. And I'm pretty sure that this copy is not one that you can own. There's an English version as well, like a Region B from Europe version that has like some stuff restored, but if you don't know anything about this movie is notoriously censored. It is still not widely available. It was given an official release with very serious edits, and it was also really limited. So most people didn't see this movie, and the people that didn't see it for real, because the movie is actually way crazier, way more shocking, and way more vocal than it is in the butchered cut you can watch anywhere.
What the author of incest, sacrilege, the master of the worst actions, the teacher of heretics.
Shudder, for instance, publishes The Devils that you can watch, but it is a neutered version of the film, and it's important to watch the version that does still have those little balls attached, because those balls are crazy, dude. You've got to see the Rape of Christ bit. It's really fucking crazy. I'm sorry it's called that. Blackenstein, it's kind of like when you do drugs and then you wake up later and you don't remember that you did them. I don't remember where I got this. I don't remember why this is in my possession, but I have this still. And I have not watched it because I think I'm scared of it. Not because it's gross, but because I just know it's probably just gonna not be a good thing for me to see. There's just no good excuse for human beings to keep watching this, I think. I think maybe this one should have gone in the waste paper basket. Speaking of things that should have gone in the waste paper basket, I have Cannibal Holocaust on Blu-ray. I'll admit, this was a dirty curiosity. I was at the store and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe there's actually a Blu-ray of Cannibal Holocaust, and the money fell right out of my pocket and onto the table, and there it is, and now I have it. It's not great to have this. Like, if you're trying to date a guy and like you got a guy over and he's like perusing your movies, you don't want him to find this. I know this from experience. I have not one, but I have two Ilsas. I'm not proud of these at all, and I am very ashamed of these, and this is kind of the bit where these are pseudo-pornographic films about lesbian Nazi women who do like medical experiments, torture, and sexual things to prisoners who I believe are probably Jewish, which makes this great and terrible and god-awful and fucking garbage and should be in fucking trash. So why is it in my hand? I think this is one of those circumstances where you end up with these because they're curiosities, and you don't realize, I think, sometimes that it's kind of like buying shoes. When you buy shoes, you don't realize, like, you're gonna have those shoes until those shoes die. You know, you're never gonna get rid of them. You're never gonna give them to somebody else. So when you buy what's tantamount to lesbian Nazi pornography, you're pretty much never gonna get rid of it. So these are a curse upon my existence. I have a few curses upon my existence, and the way that I've taken it on is a little bit different than I think most people would take this stuff on. For instance, I have this bear that is a George W. Bush campaign bear, like a Beanie Baby bear, and I keep it in my car. And the reason I keep it in my car is so that when people get into my car, they can look at it and be horrified. And then I can tell them, I don't believe that. I keep that as a cursed artifact so no one else has to deal with it. Understand that purchasing this was purchasing a curse. I bought this and now I unfortunately have to own it. I don't want to own it. I could throw it in the garbage, but then, I don't know, sometimes I think about people finding this in the garbage and wondering who the fuck nearby had it. So I would have to drive this out to the middle of nowhere and bury it. There's really no solution to this. Baise-moi is a movie in French that I believe translates to rape me. It's a bootleg as well. I've never seen this because I am a coward. And then I have this very special thing which I really wanted to show you, and this is a Unarius movie. So I got this directly from the cult, and I don't know if they have a problem with me calling it a cult. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Unarius is a UFO cult where it's just a bunch of people that basically are ex-drug addicts, most of them, that discover their past lives and make movies about it. And so this is basically a guided filmmaking experience with the cult about people trying to discover their past lives through making movies and dressing up in costumes. So it's an improvisational science fiction wonderland. And also, one of the people that worked on Star Wars initially, one of the people that worked at Industrial Light and Magic, like, ended up with a drug problem and then left and then ended up working with Unarius. And so the special effects in this are actually fabulous. You would think they'd be shitty, but they're actually amazing. So this is actually a groundbreaking achievement of film. But again, it is a cult recruitment video, so it is hard for me to show it to people. And isn't that a shame?
I do not understand that which is happening. You are so bright.
Alright, I've been saving these for a rainy day, but I guess I'll bring them out. I do have some signed Neil Breen DVDs here. Of course I do. I have Fateful Findings and Pass Through. I got these a long time ago, and I guess, once again, it's a party movie thing. I like to keep the movies around that keep the social activities around. I like to keep around the talking pieces, the think pieces, the things that challenge people, or the things I just simply can't get rid of.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide?
And I'm not proud of the things that I can't get rid of, but they are around. And, you know, you go to Half Price Books to sell your stuff, and you got some of this stuff in there, and it's very embarrassing. They do not take it, and they do get mad at you about it. And I do deserve it. So to leave you off, I am briefly going to mention a couple of VHS tapes that I have. And the reason I'm mentioning these is because I'm going to be doing viewing parties on Twitch soon. Yes, that's right, we're going to be watching some of these things, like The Mangler, a movie that Toby Hooper made about a killer laundry machine? It's a laundry machine possessed by a demon. Nightmare 2, the classic. Lair of the White Worm, from the director of The Devils. It's a snake woman. It's amazing. The Hills Have Eyes, but this time on tape, which makes it way dirtier. Ted Bundy and Ed Gein, I don't know who makes these. These are fucking terrible, and whoever makes these should be kind of ashamed, and we should be confused about them.
What are you doing in my room? Get out of here.
Dolly Dearest, which is an old rare movie starring Rip Torn where he attacks puppets. Deadly Prey, it's a classic. There's a man, he takes his shirt off and does a fight. It's great. The Doom Generation. This is unfortunately an edited version, but I'm gonna try to find one that's unedited, but this movie is like punk and gay, and it's also about a polycule. It's fucking fire. Big Money Hustlers is in fact the Insane Clown Posse feature film. Carnosaur is a movie about a dinosaur, but it's like, I think it's produced by Roger Corman. This is like pretty great. And then I I recently found these. I don't know what they are, but it's Witch Trap, which is, I think this is directed by someone I've met in my life. Kevin Tenney, yes. This is directed by Kevin Tenney. Hey, Kev. This is The Swordsman, which I don't know a thing about. I have thousands of VHS tapes just like these. I've only showed you these as a smattering of the potential tapes I could show you. I would like to build my tape collection maybe a little bit more before I do a sit-down video where I explain all of my VHS tapes in the same way that I've done with my DVDs and Blu-rays with you today. But in the future, if you would like to check out my, content about this kind of shit, I will be doing that on a streaming service. There is the one or there is the other. I will decide later on, but if you're looking for links, you can find them over at my Twitter account, which you should follow. Twitter.com/nyxfears is my Twitter handle. Wow, look at us. We've officially died. We can finally let go of our bodies and float away into the ether, having let go of our final possessions and received all the closure that one might necessarily need. You know, I would like to dive back into some of these. I think a couple of these I can explore further. There's a few things in here that I really, really love, and I really still care about, and I still really want to talk about. And I still just haven't found the way or the time, but I still really want to. But ultimately, after I've done this, you know what I really want is none of this. I think what I really want is more. I'm sleeping like a normal person, and you should too. By subscribing to my YouTube channel, you will get better sleep at night. I can nearly guarantee it, because you will be thinking at night when you're going to sleep, dang, I'm helping her out. I'm giving her a solid. I'm being a good feminist. You could be a good feminist and subscribe to my YouTube channel, but you could be a better feminist and support me on Patreon. This is like the most manipulative thing I've ever said. It's so horrible. Listen, to drop the charade of it, I am almost at 100,000 subscribers, and I've been working on that for a really long time. And it's not that achievements matter to me. I don't want the play button. You know, I'm probably just gonna get it and immediately just like be like, okay, I'll put this with my degree, and I won't remember where my degrees are either. My point is, the achievement itself doesn't matter to me. It's the act of having done something. Sometimes I feel like I haven't. Sometimes I forget that I've built a YouTube channel here and I talk about movies for you. It's weird how things kind of do that, where you sort of separate yourself from the things you love and the things you do. And then you kind of forget that you did them. Anyway, it's about time for me to get 100,000 subscribers, I think. I think I deserve that. You know, I know no human being deserves that amount of attention, but I do, definitely. Support me on Patreon like these lovely people. Look how lovely they are, their names. God, beautiful. Ooh. Hey, I don't know which side they're gonna be on, but I'm looking on one or the other side, assuming that they're gonna be on one or the other side. They could perhaps be in the center. Ooh! The names are running somewhere. Anyway, thank you. Wow, you too. You specifically. God. Love that person right there. It's a good friend. Anyway, thanks to all of these good friends, and you too could be a good friend by adding yourself to this list, by giving me $1, which I know I don't deserve, but, you know, perhaps I've entertained you. Perhaps you found something today that you like. And if you do, you know, maybe throw $1 in my hat. I sure would love a $1 in my hat to buy a little thing. Perhaps like this. A dirty, dirty little thing. Give me your money so I will buy dirty little things with it. Good night.